All right, well, New York Republicans flipped 4 House seats, giving the GOP 10 of the 26 in the state during the midterms.
Republican State Assemblyman Mike Lawler unseated Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney in New York's 17th district. It caused a major upset. Congressman-elect Lawler is with us right now in D.C. He's on like freshman orientation right now. Nice to have you on Good Day New York.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. So you have an op-ed in the New York Post today, and you talk about how you were able basically to unseat Maloney, which nobody thought was going to happen. I mean, he was running things in New York for the Democrats. How did you get more Democrats to vote for you?
Well, I currently represent a 2-to-1 Democratic district in the state assembly. There's 22,000 more Democrats than Republicans. And this congressional district has 70,000 more Democrats than Republicans. But 50% of households in this district have a cop, a firefighter, a first responder, or a veteran living in it. And I think a lot of people who may be registered Democrat were very frustrated with what's been going on in New York. This is the first time in our nation's history that Democrats control everything in Washington, Albany, and New York City all at once. And they created a mess. Folks were very frustrated with inflation and the surge in crime. And that's what I stayed focused on throughout the campaign. That was my message. And I think it resonated. And voters across this spectrum, regardless of their politics, regardless of their race, their religion, their ethnicity, they wanted change. They wanted to see a restoration of balance and common sense. And I think that's what I represented.
So, you talk about this mini red wave in New York. Yet Governor Hochul was elected, and so far we have no idea whether she's going to listen to concerns about crime and bail reform.
Yeah, there's no question she was reelected, but Lee Zeldin ran a very strong race. He did better than any Republican has since George Pataki. And I think that was a big help to all of us down ballot. We picked up 4 seats in Congress, but we also picked up a number of state assembly seats, including 3 in Brooklyn. And I think that should send a message to Governor Hochul and Democrats in New York that, you have to listen to the concerns of voters. And they are very concerned about crime.
Yeah.
And rightly so. I mean, people are not. They're worried about being pushed in front of oncoming subway cars. They're worried about being stabbed on a subway platform or shot in the street. The governor has a responsibility to act. And the fact that she has not called us back to Albany for a special session to deal with cashless bail is absurd. I think she should take the message that was delivered on Election Day from voters, and she should act. She has a responsibility to do so. The state legislature has a responsibility to act. Mayor Adams continues to call for action. It needs to happen.
Do you think that might happen, though, because we know that she was speaking to reporters at the Somos convention in Puerto Rico, where she said that she is going to have conversations with legislative leaders about the overall comprehensive strategy to deal with public safety. So you think that maybe in the future, because, again, I think the voting shows that this is an issue that she's got to maybe change her tune on?
Listen, I hope so, but I think every day, delayed is a day wasted here. We need to act. People are being put in harm's way unnecessarily because of the disastrous policies that have been enacted in Albany and New York City, and it requires immediate action. So I would ask the governor, if she's serious about this, to bring us back to Albany for a special session, repeal cashless bail, give judges discretion, and enact a dangerousness standard. New York is the only state in the country without a dangerousness standard, and we need it.
Yeah, a lot of people are scratching their heads as to why that is. Let's talk about how you are going to act, though. Specifically speaking, congestion pricing. You are very opinionated about this. What do you want people to know, the people that you represent, the state of New York, about what you're going to do with congestion pricing?
Well, this was one of the first bills that I put in as a member of the state assembly to repeal congestion pricing outright. It is nothing more than a money grab and a tax on suburban and outer borough commuters. And it needs to be stopped dead in its tracks. I will do everything I can from a federal level to intervene and stop this. It has not worked anywhere in the world, wherever it has been tried. It's not going to work in New York State. to do anything to stop congestion, and all it is a money grab. So, to me, the MTA, which is one of the worst-run authorities in America, needs to be overhauled. It needs to be reformed. Its bloated budget needs to get under control. And just throwing more money at it is not going to solve the problems at the MTA.
So let me ask you something. Speaking of money grab, can you ask the president for some money for New York? I don't know if you heard, but our mayor says it's costing us a lot to be a sanctuary city. First of all, these numbers, I started doing the numbers. I'm like, wow, it costs a lot more. I thought my kids were expensive.
Yeah.
17,000 asylum seekers in New York. It's costing New York City, I don't know, $500 million. Is that possible?
Well, I think New York City needs to revisit its status as a sanctuary city. But beyond that, the federal government needs to secure our border. You cannot continue to have tens of thousands of migrants crossing our border illegally every day and not feel the weight of that. There is a significant cost to it, and it's impacting communities all across the country, especially those on the border. We have an obligation to obviously deal with those seeking asylum and address the very real challenges that they are facing coming from several countries where they have obviously political upheaval. But we need to be real about the challenges we're facing, and you have to secure the border. You know, look, my wife is an immigrant from Eastern Europe, so this is not about being against immigration. Quite the opposite. I welcome immigration, and those who seek to come here enrich our communities, our culture, and our economy. But we have to have a legal process, and we cannot just continue to shift migrants all across the country into communities and expect these communities to foot the bill. It's obviously costing a lot for New York City right now, and we need to get serious about the border.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Good luck in the swamp. I mean, in D.C.
And orientation as well.
Thanks so much.
All right.